10 fun and creepy facts about jinns. Explained. 1. What are jinns really? Let's start with the basics. Islam teaches that God created 3 main intelligent beings. Humans made of clay, angels made of light, and jinn made of smokeless fire. Think of jinn as beings of raw energy. They're invisible to us, but they exist in a parallel world, almost like another dimension. And just like us, they have free will, meaning they can choose to be good or straight up trouble. Now here's where it gets even cooler. Jinn are said to live way longer than humans. Some live hundreds of years, even thousands. So while generations of humans are being born and dying, the same jinn might still be around, watching history unfold. Imagine running into the same neighbor jinn who saw your great-great-great-grandparents. Creepy, right? And yes, they're known to have abilities that we don't. They can move really fast, travel far distances in seconds, change shape into animals or humans, and even whisper thoughts into people's minds. If humans are bound by the laws of physics, jinn are like bending the rules. If I had to compare them to something in pop culture, they're kinda like a mix of Marvel's shapeshifters, like Mystique from X-Men, Doctor Strange with his interdimensional tricks, and maybe a dash of Loki. Charming, chaotic, but not always evil. Some are wise and spiritual, others are mischief makers. Basically, they're the ultimate wild card in the unseen world. 2. Not all jinn are evil spirits. Hollywood doesn't usually say the word jinn. Instead, they throw around terms like demon or ghost. And then, of course, there's Disney's Aladdin, with a funny, blue, wish-granting genie. Entertaining? Yes. Accurate? Not really. In reality, jinn are way more complex. They're like people. Some are kind, some are mischievous, and some are a nightmare to deal with. There are even Muslim jinn who pray, live peacefully and try to do good, so they're not automatically evil. And maybe, in other cultures, they just go by different names. Fairies in Europe, mermaids in ocean legends, spirits in Africa and Asia, all these mysterious beings that aren't quite human, but not quite divine either. If you think about it, they're kind of like Loki in Marvel, shapeshifters, sometimes helpful, sometimes chaotic, or like fairies in movies, sweet like Tinkerbell or terrifying like Maleficent. Different cultures, different names, but maybe pointing to the same unseen reality. So what do you think? Are fairies, mermaids, and spirits just another way of describing jinn? 3. They live everyday lives. Kinda. Here's a fun one. Did you know jinn eat, drink, fall in love, get married, and even have kids? Yup, they literally have families like us. According to Hadith, they eat bones and leftover food scraps, which is why Muslims are encouraged to leave clean scraps after meals. Now think about all-you-can-eat buffets, mountains of food, tons of leftovers. Could it be that all those extra scraps weren't just waste? Maybe, unknowingly, we were feeding the jinn. Society's love for abundance equals a buffet for the unseen world. And those dog bone rules, you've read it in textbooks. Dogs should only eat bones. But clearly they eat other food too, and sometimes bones aren't even safe. So why the fuss? Maybe bones weren't just for dogs. They were a clever way to leave food for the jinn while humans and dogs had their share. So yes, jinn eat, love, marry, have kids, and quietly snack on our leftovers. Everyday life, but make it mystical. 4. Shape-shifting abilities. One of the wildest things about Jinn? They can shape-shift. According to Islamic tradition, they can appear as humans or animals, especially snakes, black dogs, and even cats. That's why there's a teaching. If a snake suddenly shows up in your house, don't attack it right away. Say Bismillah in the name of God first, because for all you know, it might be a jinn in disguise. And if you think about it, almost every culture has its version of this. In Filipino folklore, there's the pungay, a black dog that can shapeshift, said to be a type of aswang that eats babies and humans. Creepy, right? Even modern myths play with this idea. Like the whole reptilian overlord conspiracy, powerful beings secretly running governments while looking human. Total sci-fi vibes, but interesting how it echoes the jinn's ability to take different forms. And then there are urban legends, like the famous mall story in the Philippines. People used to whisper that the owner had a half-human, half-snake child living in the mall's basement, supposedly preying on women in fitting rooms. Totally debunked, of course, but notice the pattern? Snake-human hybrids, shape-shifting creatures, hidden beings among us. 5. Where do they live? Jinns don't usually set up camp in your living room, unless you invite them. They prefer lonely, untouched places. Deserts, forests, caves, abandoned ruins, and, yes, bathrooms. That's why Muslims say a short prayer before entering bathrooms. Kind of like saying, "Excuse me, just passing through." Sounds familiar? In the Philippines, we say tabi-tabi po when passing by trees, anthills, or dark corners as a way of respecting unseen beings. Same vibe. And it's not just Islam or Pinoy culture. You'll see this idea everywhere. In Japan, yokai or kami are said to live in forests, rivers, or even bathrooms. So shrines and rituals exist to show respect. In European folklore, fairies were believed to live in groves or caves, and people left offerings to avoid offending them. In Chinese tradition, spirits called gui, ghosts, are thought to linger in dark, damp places. That's why there are taboos like not whistling at night, and why, during Ghost Month, the Hungry Ghost Festival, people burn incense and food offerings to wandering souls believed to roam the earth. Different names, different customs, but the same underlying belief. Certain places aren't just empty. Something or someone might be sharing it with us. Number 6. Jinn possession and healing. You've probably heard those scary stories of jinn possessing people. In Islam, this is taken seriously. But the solution isn't like the dramatic Hollywood exorcisms you see in movies. Instead, Muslims turn to ruqya, which is basically spiritual healing, reciting Quran verses and specific prayers for protection and healing. It's calm, faith-centered, and meant to bring peace, not fear. Of course, some cases that people think are possession might actually be psychological or medical issues. But the belief in unseen forces affecting humans is super widespread across cultures. In the Philippines, we have the albulario or folk healer, who uses oracion, prayers, herbs and rituals to drive away spirits. In Africa, many cultures believe in spirit possession, and communities turn to traditional healers or shamans for cleansing ceremonies. In Hindu traditions, there are rites like Jad Puk, spirit removal, performed by healers to expel negative energies. In Catholic Europe, exorcism prayers are still practiced by priests, usually rare and very controlled. In Chinese folk belief, Taoist priests perform rituals to drive away wandering spirits or demons causing illness. Different methods, same idea. Humans have always felt there's more to sickness than just the body. Sometimes it's about the unseen, and healing means reconnecting with the spiritual world. Number 7. Prophet Suleiman and the Jinn. Okay, this one's epic. In Islam, Prophet Suleiman, or Solomon, wasn't just a wise king. He was literally given control over the jinn by God. Imagine having an army you can't even see, working for you. The Quran says they built palaces, statues, and even dove deep into the oceans to bring back treasures. Basically, the ultimate supernatural workforce. And get this, Suleiman ruled over a vast kingdom centered in Jerusalem, stretching across parts of Palestine, Syria, and the Arabian Peninsula. It was a golden age of wisdom, wealth, and wonder, one that both Muslims and Jews trace back to him. Now here's the cool part. This isn't just some random fantasy. Muslims believe this was a God-given miracle, not magic. But what's wild is that you'll find echoes of Suleiman's story in other cultures. In Jewish folklore, Solomon's magic ring supposedly let him command demons. In Greek mythology, you've got Orpheus charming even wild beasts with his music. And in modern fiction, think Gandalf with divine Wi-Fi, commanding forces beyond the human realm. The difference, though, with Suleiman, it's not mythology or wizardry. It's divine permission. That's why in Islam, magic is a no-go, but Suleiman's gift was legit, straight from God. 8. Jinns in other cultures. Jinns aren't just an Islamic idea. The belief in unseen spirits pops up everywhere. In pre-Islamic Arabia, people already spoke of shadowy beings in the desert. Islam clarified what they actually are, but echoes of jinn show up worldwide. In Persian Zoroastrianism, there are the divas, mischievous spirits that sound a lot like rebellious jinn. In Indian folklore, you'll hear of bhoots and churls, restless spirits haunting people at night. In Chinese culture, legends tell of huli jing, fox spirits, who can shapeshift and seduce humans, similar to jinn trickery. By the time the stories traveled west, jinn morphed into the genies of Arabian Nights, wish-granting, bottle-trapped beings. Europe ran with that, turning them into Disney's blue, singing, wisecracking genie. But the original jinn, way more complex, capable of faith or disbelief, kindness or cruelty, wisdom or deceit. So while every culture has its version of spirits, Islam gives the jinn a clear identity. They're real, created from smokeless fire, living in parallel with us, not just fairy tales. 9. Do they affect us today? Here's where it gets spooky. Many people believe jinns still interact with humans, not just in ancient times, but right now. Some say they cause nightmares, sleep paralysis, and unexplained accidents. Others claim they mess with tech, flickering lights, phones glitching, even strange shadows caught on camera. Folklore also says jinn use mirrors as doorways between our world and theirs, which is why so many cultures have creepy mirror superstitions. And then there's the conspiracy stuff. Some point to Da Vinci's strange symbolism, secret societies like the Freemasons, and even the Illuminati's goat god imagery as echoes of hidden jinn influence. The New World Order theories often tie back to the idea that unseen forces are steering human history. Now, Islam doesn't deny jinn exist, but it makes one thing clear. They have no power unless we give it to them through fear, obsession, or dabbling in forbidden practices. So, whether you see them as spirits, metaphors, or conspiracies, the fascination with Jinn hasn't gone anywhere. It just updated for the 21st century. 10. They can see us, but we can't see them. Here's the kicker. Jinn can see humans, but humans usually can't see them. They're watching from their hidden world while we go about our daily lives. The Quran even tells us about a group of jinn who overheard it being recited and were so moved they became Muslim on the spot. Imagine giving a speech and your invisible audience just decides to convert right then and there. So, can we avoid them? Islam says yes. By remembering God, reciting verses like Ayat al-Kursi, the throne verse, or simply saying Bismillah before we enter a room, eat, or travel. It's like putting up spiritual firewalls. Bottom line, Jinn might see us, but we're not defenseless. In fact, with the right protection, they can't mess with us at all. And that's the world of the Jinn. Mysterious, unseen, but not just a fairy tale. From Prophet Suleiman's kingdom to modern ghost stories, they've always lingered at the edge of human life. What do you think? Are Jinn real forces around us, or just legends carried across cultures? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more. And most importantly, don't forget to pray. It's the best protection of all. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.